Navali's eyes rolled back, and she braced on her staff for support, as her mind was once more plunged into a maelstrom of celestial events and foreign memories. She floundered, deeper than usual, certain that this was the time she would finally lose herself in all that madness. Yet, as always, she was pulled back. Her monkey companion led her back to the light, and with them they brought a phrase, somehow weaved together from a mess that was never supposed to be understood into something coherent. At least, as coherent as Navali could make it. A stroll down memory lane ends abruptly. A beast claws at the door, hungry for its contents. As always, I had absolutely no idea what that fortune was supposed to convey, just faith in Navali's abilities, and surety that it would become clear with time. Alva proclaimed to have discovered something. She'd been poring over ancient Val manuscripts and journals for weeks, saying that something didn't add up. A Val city, famed for being a center of commerce and thaumaturgical pursuits, one day simply vanished. All historical records of it ceased, as if the entire population had just collectively decided to stop talking about it or thinking about it. Specifically to spite Alva, as she would say. Then came a breakthrough. A journal from a Val scholar with an entry detailing a visit to the city, complete with location. Then a later entry, in which he expresses confusion about the earlier writing, stating that he doesn't even recall writing it, and blithely dismissing it with the notion that he must have made up the city while inebriated. After some preparation, and a little convincing for Nico that we weren't expecting any danger, all 9 of us set off, led by an overly enthusiastic Alva. The journey to the temple wasn't too difficult, though its remote location explained why it hadn't been chanced upon by anyone previously. Out in the middle of a desert, hidden in an oasis of palm trees. We set up camp in the entrance, next to what was clearly a Val statue. However, the architecture itself was unlike any Val temple we'd ever seen before. It was ancient and infinitely more refined, suggesting that the Val had acquired it at some point. We spent much time investigating the ruins, discovering new rooms and corridors. Of particular note was a small library containing manuscripts and tablets, some Val in origin and some much older. Alva could well have lost herself in that space, but the rest of us wanted to press on through the magnificent ruins. To add to our awe, we discovered a strange contraption, which looked to be a primeval attempt at a portal device. Zena noted that it had no map receptacle like what we were used to, so it probably had a single fixed destination. Nico immediately said that with a bit of tinkering he could get the machine powered and working again. The rest of us agreed, of course, spurred on by the overwhelming curiosity of where it led. While the others continued their exploration of the temple, Nico and Zena worked on restoring the contraption. They poured in their respective knowledge of mechanical and thaumaturgical arts to give new life to the ancient contraption, and with the addition of one of Nico's generators, it seemed ready. The machine sputtered violently as it powered up, seeming to swell with energy at first, until it surged with light and brought forth a humming ball of static which sat at the front of the machine. Around it, the portal began to flicker into existence. Suddenly, a great howling assaulted our minds, as if a gale of wind crashed into us from behind, intent on pushing us through the portal. My vision blurred, and I could barely make out poor Jun in the next room. She had collapsed, clasping at her head as she screamed out in fear. I, too, felt as though my mind was being torn from my skull. I braced myself against the closest wall, my mind shattering as I strained against the compulsion to just let go and fall in. And just as I was sure we were going to fall into the portal, Nico reached up and slammed his fist down on the power button. The machine turned off. The silence was deafening, as though our ears were recovering from some tremendous noise. Everyone was dazed and confused about what exactly had transpired. I felt so sure that even a second longer and I would have lost myself to that madness. Nico looked up from behind the console, his face sickly pale. Even the stalwart Einhar looked visibly shaken. We collected ourselves and decided to settle for the night. Any further exploration could most definitely wait. Alva chose to stay up and continue translating some of the texts from the library, unable to sleep. Honestly, I couldn't blame her. The next morning, however, she had discovered something equally unnerving. A possible explanation for the disappearance of the populations that had once occupied the temple. Tales of an ancient monstrosity that had the Vaal spooked. Some kind of creature that would devour you, consuming not just flesh, but your memories too, and all the memories of you, leaving nothing but silence and a gap in the minds of everyone who had ever known you. We at first thought it unbelievable, until Zaina recalled tales of a memory eater from her father's notes, another twisted manifestation of oblivion. We looked at one another and anxiously did a head count. Let's see, Zaina, Jun, Nico, Einhar, Navali, Helena, Alva, and myself. All 8 of us. We breathed a collective sigh of relief. Everyone was accounted for. Gods, if that was the thing we had nearly loosed upon the world, I don't think any of us were prepared to face such a foe. At any rate, the portal device looked fried. Probably for the best. Though the strange thing is, there's a bag here that no one's seen before. It doesn't belong to any of us.